They say the ocean is the last great mystery of our planet. But what if it's also a graveyard of forgotten gods and living monsters? For thousands of years, sailors, kings, and prophets described the same creatures across different continents, in different eras long before they could have shared a single word. How did they all imagine the same beasts? Were they all lying, or did they see something real? Tonight, we dive into 10 ancient sea creatures that might not just be legends. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Let's begin the countdown. Number 1. Oh, the Mythical, the island that eats. Imagine sailing across a calm ocean, exhausted from weeks at sea. You spot land ahead, an island with trees, rocks, and enough space to rest your weary crew. You drop anchor, light fires, and begin to cook your first hot meal in days. But then, the island moves. The ground trembles. The trees sway. The island starts to sink. You jump into your ship as waves rise like walls around you. And only then do you see the truth. What you thought was an island was alive. This is the Mythical, a creature described in medieval bestiaries and early sailors' maps. Said to be larger than any known whale, it looked like a massive turtle or fish with a shell so wide it could be mistaken for land. Sailors claimed its back was covered in rocks, moss, and even small trees, making it the perfect illusion. The Mythical was said to lure sailors in, only to drag their ships into the abyss once they anchored. Some believed it was cursed by God as punishment for human greed. Others thought it was a remnant of creation, an ancient beast left behind when the seas were still young. Modern scientists have linked the myth to real giant creatures like whales or volcanic islands that appear and disappear. But those who believe the legends insist that something massive still roams the deep, waiting for another ship to mistake it for land. Number 9. Yumabuzu, the spirit of the Black Sea from the Naissafe. On the most terrifying legends ever told by fisherman Yumabuzu, the sea spirit of the black waves. Sailors said it appears on calm nights when the sea is still as glass. Without warning, a dark shape rises from the water, smooth, round, and towering like a mountain. The creature has no face, only black skin and glowing white eyes that stare into the souls of those who watch. When Yumabuzu appears, the ocean turns violent. Winds scream, waves crash, and the ship is tossed like a toy. Some stories claim it demands a bucket. If the sailors give a wooden one, it fills it with seawater and sinks the ship. Only those clever enough to offer a bottomless bucket, so the water pours through, can escape its wrath. In Japanese folklore, Yumabuzu is said to be the spirit of drowned priests or monks who died at sea. Their souls, restless and furious, rise again in storm form to take revenge on the living. Modern accounts of mysterious waves and shadowy forms off Japan's coast continue to fuel the myth. Whether spirit or storm, Yumabuzu remains one of the most feared ocean entities in Japanese history. Number 8. Makara, the guardian of the deep across ancient India. The oceans were ruled by divine beings. Among them was the Makara, a creature both majestic and monstrous. In Hindu mythology, the Makara served as the vehicle of Varuna, god of the oceans, and Ganga, the goddess of the sacred river. It was said to have the body of a fish or crocodile, the trunk of an elephant, and the tail of a peacock, an impossible mix of power, beauty, and danger. But the Makara wasn't just a guardianette, was a gatekeeper. Temples across India and Southeast Asia are still decorated with carvings of the Makara, standing watch at entrances to ward off evil spirits. To believers, it was a protector of the divine realm, but to sailors, it was a sign of warning sightings, meant a storm was coming or that something ancient stirred beneath the surface. Some historians believe the Makara might have been inspired by real encounters with crocodiles or strange marine mammals. Others say it represents the human fear of the unknown, a creature born from our attempt to explain what our eyes could barely see beneath dark waters. And even today, deep-sea explorers describe bizarre, unclassified creatures that seem almost mythically, reminding us how much of the ocean remains undiscovered. Number 7. Cetus, the Greek monster of the abysing ancient Greece. The word Cetus simply meant sea monster, but one story made it immortal, the tale of Andromeda and Perseus. When the queen Cassiopeia bragged that her daughter Andromeda was more beautiful than the sea nymphs, the god Poseidon sent a punishment, a monstrous beast named Cetus. It rose from the ocean to destroy her kingdom. To save her people, Andromeda was chained to the rocks as a sacrifice. But before Cetus could devour her, the hero Perseus arrived, slaying the monster with the severed head of Medusa. Ancient Greek sailors believed Cetus was more than myth. They carved its image into coins, temples, and stars today. Even a constellation bears its name, Cetus, the whale. Many think the legend began with sightings of giant sea creatures like whales, sharks, or even prehistoric bones found along the Mediterranean. But others argue that the myth's persistence across thousands of years suggests the Greeks saw something far more terrifying than a whale, something no one could identify. The sea holds many secrets, and the myth of Cetus might be one of them. Number 6. Leviathan, the beast of chaos. From the depths of the Hebrew Bible comes one of the most powerful sea creatures ever described, the Leviathan, mentioned in the book of Job and the Psalms. The Leviathan was no ordinary beast. It was a dragon of the ocean, covered in impenetrable scales, breathing fire and smoke, and leaving a trail of boiling water behind it. It was said to be so large that when it rose, the sea itself trembled. In ancient Hebrew belief, Leviathan wasn't just a monster, it symbolized chaos itself. God was said to have created two of them, male and female, but destroyed one so the world would survive. The surviving Leviathan was trapped beneath the ocean until the end of days, when it would rise again in the final battle between good and evil. Over time, the myth spread across cultures. Christians, Muslims, and even early sailors all described versions of the same creature, a serpent that ruled the ocean's deepest realms. Some said it was a demon. Others believed it was a remnant from a forgotten age, perhaps a creature from before the flood. And as modern explorers map the ocean floor, discovering creatures that glow, hunt, and survive in impossible depths, many still whisper, what if Leviathan was real and it's still down there, waiting? We've explored just half of the ocean's most legendary monsters, and already the water feels darker. But the most terrifying ones are still waiting. In the next part, we'll meet the creatures that could shake the foundations of mythology itself, gods, dragons, and beings that once ruled the sea long before humanity learned to sail it. If you're enjoying this deep dive into ancient sea monsters, hit the like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. And trust me, the next 5 creatures will make you think twice before you ever look at the ocean the same way again. Number 5. Ikutorso, the Finnish demon of the seafar. In the icy waters of the north, Finnish sailors whispered about a creature so dreadful that even naming it brought bad luck. They called it Ikutorsotha in the Kalevala, Finland's national epic. Ikutorso is described as a gigantic sea demon with fiery eyes, a beard of seaweed, and tentacles powerful enough to crush ships like toys. He was said to rise during storms, bringing disease, chaos, and death wherever he appeared. To the ancient Finns, the ocean was a gateway between life and death. Ikutorso was the guardian of that gate. Some legends say he fathered monsters with the goddess of death herself. Others say he sleeps beneath the Baltic Sea, waiting to awaken when mankind once again offends the gods. When modern divers explore the dark, frigid depths of the Baltic, they often report strange shadows moving in the silt, too large, too slow, and too deliberate to be fish. Whether those shapes are real or just tricks of the water, no one can say. But the legend of Ikutorso still lingers, reminding us that even the coldest seas have their monsters. Number 4. Scylla and Charybdis. The twin terrors between Italy and Greece lies the narrow Strait of Messina, a passage that sailors have feared since ancient times. On one side, cliffs rise like jagged teeth. On the other, the sea churns in violent whirlpools. The Greeks believed 2 monsters lived here, Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla was once a beautiful nymph, transformed by jealousy into a horror with 12 feet, 6 heads, and 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth. She hid among the rocks, waiting to snatch sailors from passing ships. Across the strait, Charybdis lurked a whirlpool so massive it could swallow entire fleets. Ancient poets said she was the daughter of Poseidon, punished by Zeus for her greed and condemned to drink and vomit the sea 3 times a day. When Odysseus sailed this route, he was told he must choose lose a few men to Scylla, or risk losing his whole ship to Charybdis. That story gave birth to a phrase still used today, between Scylla and Charybdis, meaning trapped between 2 dangers. Even now, whirlpools and strange underwater currents near Messina line up eerily well with the locations described in the myth. Science explains them. but myth gives them meaning. And to anyone who's sailed through that narrow, trembling water, it's easy to imagine that Scylla and Charybdis never really left. Number 3. Jarmangander, the world's serpent in Norse mythology. There is one creature that stands above all others in power and terror: Jarmangander, the Midgard serpent. According to legend, the gods threw Jarmangander into the ocean when he was still young, but he grew so enormous that his body wrapped around the entire earth, biting his own tail. When he releases it, the world will end in a storm of fire and waves, the day known as Ragnarok. Vikings believed that earthquakes and tidal waves were caused by Jarmangander shifting beneath the sea. During their voyages, they feared waking him. Some even claimed to have seen him rise massive coils breaking the surface, mist and steam following as if the sea itself was alive. What's chilling is how many other cultures describe similar beings, giant serpents encircling the world, sleeping in the ocean's depths. From Asia's dragon kings to the Aztec serpent god Quetzalcoatl, the pattern repeats. Could ancient people have witnessed real prehistoric sea creatures, massive, snake-like beasts now lost to time? Even modern submarines have reported sonar contacts of immense flowing shapes in the deep Arctic seas, too big to be whales, too slow to be submarines. The world serpent may be just a myth, or it could be the ocean's greatest secret. Number 2. The Kraken. The terror of the Northview sea monsters have captured the human imagination like the Kraken. Born from the icy depths of Scandinavian legend, it was said to be a beast the size of an island, with tentacles that could drag a warship into the abyss. The first written account came from 13th century Norse sagas, describing the Kraken as a mountain rising from the sea. Sailors believed that when it surfaced, fish would swarm around it, so they would risk sailing close to catch them. But when the Kraken dove again, the whirlpool it left behind would pull every ship down with it. For centuries, people dismissed it as fantasy until the 19th century, when sailors began bringing back enormous tentacles and carcasses of giant squids. Some were longer than 50 feet, with eyes the size of dinner plates. Even now, live footage of giant squids is rare, and scientists admit we know almost nothing about how deep they live or how large they can grow. So maybe the Kraken wasn't a myth after all, just an exaggerated glimpse of a real creature that still hides in the black waters of the North Atlantic. And if one species like that could remain hidden for centuries, how many others might be down there unseen? Number 1. Tiamat, the mother of monsters. At the top of our list stands not a beast, but a goddess. Tiamat, the Babylonian mother of creation and destruction in the world's oldest recorded myth. The Enuma Elish Tiamat was the embodiment of the sea itself. At first, she was peaceful, a mother of life, but when younger gods rebelled against her, she became enraged, transforming into a colossal dragon of salt water, her body filled with serpents and chaos. Her battle with the god Marduk shaped the universe. Marduk slew her and split her body in two. Half became the heavens, half became the earth. From her blood and bones, the first humans were said to be made to ancient Babylonians. The ocean wasn't just a place, it was a living force that created and destroyed at will. Tiamat represented the unpredictable power of nature, something humanity could never fully control, even today. Her name lives on in fantasy and science, but the real meaning of Tiamat runs deeper. She is the reminder that the ocean itself is both our origin and our greatest threat. Every myth of a sea monster, from Leviathan to the Kraken, echoes her spirit, the idea that beneath the calm surface lies a power too vast for us to understand. Across centuries and continents, humanity has told stories of monsters that lurk beneath the waves. From Babylon to Japan, from the frozen north to the warm Indian seas, the same fear returns, the feeling that something enormous and ancient watches us from the dark. Science may explain some of these myths, but not all. The ocean still covers more than 70% of our planet, and we've explored less than 5% of it. Maybe that's where the truth hides, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to find it. If you made it this far into the deep, you're officially part of the crew. Hit the like button and tell me in the comments, if you had to face one of these sea monsters, which one would it be? And don't forget to subscribe, because our next dive will take us even deeper into the lost cities beneath the ocean.